Frank here. Today is Saturday, January 3rd, 2026, and we'll give this a few minutes for others to join. And Mike, Happy New Year to you, brother. And Donovan, hello to you too. I hope everybody had a good Christmas and a Happy New Year. I'm curious what Santa brought you all for Christmas. I did buy myself the Henry 357 lever action rifle. I was hoping that it would have been in, but between the Christmas and New Year holiday, the shipping schedule was short, so I did not receive it yet. I'm hoping it comes in next weekend. And we have more people joining. I'll just give it another minute or so and we'll get started. Again, there is no set agenda here, so if you have any comments or questions or things you want to discuss, just type them in and we'll do it. All right, let's start off with the gun news that we always do first. So, in Illinois, effective January 1st, 2026, all home firearms must be locked in a safe, cabinet, or container, which is really stupid because somebody breaks into your home, you're going to tell them to, wait for me to go to the basement and get my gun out of the safe. It's just stupid. There's no way to enforce it. What's going to happen? The only way they're going to find out really is if there's a negligent discharge and something happens, then you'll have to prove why your firearm isn't in the safe. I just think that law is moronic. If you look at how many shootings and killings there are in Chicago, do you really think forcing homeowners to keep their guns locked in the safe is going to prevent that? A huge Second Amendment win in California. A federal court struck down the open carry ban that was presently in place in California. It made it illegal to open carry in a county that had more than 20,000 people, which is pretty much everywhere in California. But the federal court struck that ban down and declared that it was unconstitutional. So that is a huge win for California, especially considering how strict the gun laws are. That was definitely a major win. Yeah, I agree with you there, Donovan. California is just a really bad state to live in if you own guns. It really is. And it's good. I see we have a lot of new people here today, so that is a good thing. That means people are finding us. And we do this live stream every Wednesday evening at 8 o'clock Eastern and Saturday at 12 noon Eastern. And if you haven't done so, please subscribe to the channel. I appreciate that. And hello, Liz. Glad to have you back. Yeah, Utah, that's, we used to live in the communist state of New Germany, and we left New Jersey because they took all our gun rights away. And 7 years ago, we moved to the great state of Tennessee. Glock 30 SF, that's nice. I have one of them myself. And I also bought the Glock 29 SF a few weeks ago. Yes, I love the Glock 30 SF. Yeah, that's the problem is eventually every gun in California is going to be illegal. Um, the list of approved guns in California gets smaller and smaller. I want to talk about being responsible gun owners. We constantly fight for our Second Amendment rights, but um, unfortunately, there was an incident that happened on Christmas, um, and it's just very sad. I'll get right to you there, Deck. In Oklahoma, a young man bought himself a Glock 45 for Christmas, and he was in his backyard shooting Red Bull cans. 3/10 of a mile away, a woman was sitting in an enclosed porch with her family, and she was holding a child in her left hand, and she was struck by a bullet. Now, she just got done saying to her family members, well, it sounds like somebody got a gun for Christmas. And then she yelled out, ouch, and collapsed. And the bullet hit her in the right arm. Fortunately, that's not the arm she was holding the child. And it went in through her arm, into her chest cavity, and she died. Police were investigating in the area, and they found a man shooting in his backyard. And he had no berm or backstop. And this is a tragic event that 100% could have been avoided, hence the know your target and what's beyond. I mean, this had to be a perfect storm. The bullet traveled 3/10 of a mile. It had to be a clear shot with nothing deflecting the bullet. It was a freak thing. But the man is facing murder charges now. And I'm kind of torn about this because I understand that being stupid does not indemnify you, but this guy had no criminal record. He wasn't a violent criminal, and he had no intent. He was just stupid. And, they're trying to throw the book at him. And he should definitely be doing jail time. but the guy should not be facing life in prison. Um, Mainly for the fact that there was no intent, he had no criminal record. Um, my feeling is that he'll probably be able to plea bargain it to aggravated manslaughter. But I mean, initially, they're charging him with murder, and people intentionally kill others and get less time than that. Um, and that's just a sad thing. And I'm betting that also was not the first time that he shot in his backyard. Um, so again, we shoot in our backyard here too, but I intentionally um, make sure I shoot into the dirt. And this is just part of being a responsible gun owner. I mean, the guy definitely did not wake up that morning and say, let me go kill somebody. Um, but again, being stupid does not indemnify you. And it's just a very tragic incident. Now, I don't think he should spend life in prison, but if it was a friend of mine or a family member of mine that got killed, maybe I would think about it differently. But all right. Utah de la Cruz. Yes, Tennessee is a great state. And I apologize if I don't get to your comments. They do scroll very fast, and I can't catch them all. Glock or Smith & Wesson, what do I prefer? Well, before Glock caved, I used to be a Glock fanboy. I will never buy a Glock again. I'm not a huge fan of Smith & Wesson pistols, I'll be honest with you. I find the triggers to be very gritty. So for me now, instead of a Glock, I would prefer a Ruger or a Springfield. I'm just not a Smith & Wesson fan of semi-autos, but I do love their revolvers. And I don't know, Donovan. I have a Turkish shotgun. I have a Panzer Arms AR-12, and that thing is built in Turkey, and it's built like a tank. Well, I got to tell you, there, Utah. I used to, when people ask me what's a good firearm, uh, I used to always recommend the Glock 19. And then after Glock pulled the stupid shit that they pulled, now I recommend the Ruger RXM. For under $400, I still think it is the best quality 9mm pistol you can buy. I like 10mm. I like 1911s. A 1911 in 10mm is even better. So I'm looking at the Gerson Influencer 1911 in 10mm. That'll probably be very high on my list. And maybe some of you may have one of these and you can give me your thoughts. I'm looking at the Ruger LC carbine. I'm looking at the 45 caliber because obviously Pro Gun 45, that's one of my favorite calibers, but it's also available in 5.7, and the 5.7 one will accommodate the Ruger 5.7 pistol mags. And Duke Storm, hello, welcome. So I'm on the fence between the 5.7 and the 45, only because I already have the Ruger 5.7. I could use the same mags. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with the tank folio. I just like the EAA Gerson, the Gerson 1911 and 10 millimeter is definitely a great gun. Um, you know what, Utah, I carry full size 1911s, and I disagree. I think 1911s are a great gun to carry. Believe it or not, full size 1911 uh, carries very well because the grip is thin. And Liz, I have the Ruger 5.7 pistol, um, and that's why I'm thinking of getting the Ruger LC in 5.7 because it uses the same mags. 1791. Honestly, I'm not a 9 millimeter fan in general. I'm really not a 9 millimeter fan in 1911. To me, um, that's sacrilegious. I'm old school, and to me, uh, a 1911 is a 45 ACP. However, I do like them in 10. I'm just not a fan of 1911s in 9 millimeter. But that's just me. And Solburn, no, I do not think that a double stacked 1911 9 millimeter would be too heavy because 7 rounds of 45 ACP is even heavier. And like I said, I carry a full size 1911 and it conceals very well. I agree with you, 1791. 45 ACP is the bomb. Thomas Simmons, I just recently bought the Springfield Emissary, and that is a great gun. I have the Springfield Ronin in 10 millimeter. Donovan, strikers run the game. To answer your question here, Donovan, I'm not a fan of grip safeties, even on 1911. It's just one more thing to have to remember under duress. And Thomas, I'm left-handed. I guess, you know, I'm left-handed and I grew up in a right-handed world. It never really mattered to me because I just learned to adapt. But I don't really care if it's ambidextrous. But I'm not a fan of grip safeties. The safety is just keep your damn trigger off the finger. Keep your finger off the trigger. I mean, that's the safety. And I don't like that under duress now. Now you have to remember, do I have my safety on or off? However, on a 1911, being it's meant to carry cocked and locked, I do that. But any other gun, I never would buy a gun because it's got a safety. And some of my pistols have safeties on it only because they came that way. There's nothing I could do about it, and they didn't make it without safeties on them. So, Hooligan, yes, I do like the AR-15. Liz, you know what? Bear Creek Arsenal, they make great receivers. I'm not a fan of their pistols. The Grizzly seem kind of cheap to me. Honestly, if it were me, I'd go with the Palmetto State Armory. Bear Creek should just stick to what they do best and stick to the uppers. I agree with you there, Utah. Just keep your damn finger off the trigger. That is the safety. But I built a number of AR-15s, and I got all of my uppers from Bear Creek Arsenal, and they've all been flawless. I also built a couple AR pistols. I built a 300 blackout pistol. So, anyone out there have the Ruger LC carbine? I'm just curious because that is a serious consideration for my next one. I'm a little disappointed that I did not get my Henry yet, but think I ordered it the 21st of December, and between the Christmas and New Year holiday, um, the shipping schedules were tight. I thought I would have had it. I'm just impatient. I don't like waiting, but hopefully I'll have it next weekend. See a lot of new people out here, which is a good thing. That means YouTube is pushing us out to more and more people. If you haven't done so, please hit the subscribe button. I'd really appreciate that. We are a small but quickly growing channel. My goal was to have 10,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and I failed that goal. We are pushing close to 7,500. It is what it is, but I'm not giving up, and hopefully this year will be even better. But I mean, when I consider that last January we only had 1,000 subscribers, and we're up to almost 8,000 now. I think for 1 year that's pretty good. So I'm hoping maybe to hit 12 to 15,000. I want to thank everyone for subscribing, especially those who support our channel. And thanks for subscribing there, Steve. I appreciate that. Our channel is small, and I purchase firearms based on the revenue from my YouTube channel. And the only way we get revenue is for people to watch our videos. So I have almost 800 videos out there. Watch as many as you can. Share them, like them, leave comments. The more activity there is on the comments, the more YouTube pushes them out to more people. And then we get more revenue to purchase more firearms and accessories. I also want to thank the supporters out there who purchase super stickers. That really helps a lot. Anything helps. Like I said, we're a small channel. I just can't afford to purchase guns every week out of my own pocket, and I'm too small to have manufacturers sell me a gun to review. But I love doing this. I love the interaction with you guys. I love the dialogue I have with my subscribers and viewers. So I will continue doing this. But again, we wouldn't be where we are if it weren't for you guys. And I just want to make that perfectly clear. And we do listen to you. We used to just do this live stream every Saturday at 12 noon. And then a few people asked if we can do the stream during the week as well, because they can't all make Saturday. And we listened, and we do them on Wednesday evenings now. So my daily carry, that's a tough question, Harry. I guess because I own a lot of guns, it's hard to pick depending on what it is I'm doing. I may change a gun 2-3 times during the day. But one of my favorite carries is my Glock 29. I also like my Springfield Hellcat Pro. When I'm at work, I carry my Savage Stance. That conceals very well. But I'm a huge 10 millimeter guy. I also love 45, hence Pro Gun 45. But that that Glock 29 10 millimeter, that is one of my favorite. James, I'm going to make a statement here that's probably going to get people's panties all in a bunch, but y'all attend this stream and I just tell it like it is. Personally, I don't see any point of a 40 caliber. I just think a 40 caliber is silly. Why not just go with the 10 millimeter? You could shoot 40 caliber out of a 10 millimeter. It's just like, if you're going to buy a revolver, buy a 357 Magnum. Even if you're never going to shoot 357 and you only want to shoot 38 special, if you do want to, you could shoot 357 Magnum. Well, that's the same with a 10 millimeter. I just think a 40 caliber is silly. I understand that back in the day, when the 10 millimeters first came out, and law enforcement was failing qualifications, that was because it was a poorly designed gun. They were poorly trained agents. But now, it's considering that the 10 millimeter was almost dead, now it did a flip-flop. 40 caliber is almost obsolete now, and 10 millimeter made a huge comeback. So that's just my 2 cents. And for the people that say, well, 40 caliber is the same thing as a 10 millimeter. No, it's nothing like it. Now, granted, I will give you that if you go to the store and you buy your typical off-the-shelf 10 millimeter ammo, it's basically no different than it's no different than 180 grain 40 caliber. But if you're going to shoot true buffalo bore or hot 10 millimeter loads, that is nothing like 40 caliber. 40 caliber is just like a BB gun compared to a 10. And Harry, yes, 1911 and 10 millimeter is awesome. I have a Springfield Ronin 1911 and 10 millimeter, and I'm seriously thinking about getting the Gerson Influencer 1911 and 10 millimeter. You know what, Thomas? You're never going to win that argument with me. 40 caliber loaded correctly it's nowhere near the power of a 10 millimeter. I'm sorry. I'm a data guy by trade. I review data. I review the ballistics. I review the gel tests. And I'm sorry, when they made the 40 caliber, they took a perfectly good 10 millimeter cartridge and they neutered it. They cut the neck down and called it a 40 caliber, and it is nothing like a 10. I'm just telling you. I know that the people that like 10 millimeter, they think that you said something bad about their mother when you badmouthed it, but the 40 caliber is just silly. Especially now when everybody's making 10 millimeter. I just don't see the point in going out and looking for a 40 caliber. It just absolutely makes no sense. I carry 180 grain hollow points in my 10 millimeter. I use the no, Denzel, that is not true. The only benefit to 40 caliber is the price. It's still not worth it. 40 caliber, when it replaced 10 millimeter 10 years ago, was supposed to be the savior, right? And now, for some reason, 40 caliber is pretty much dying out now. And, for people that bitch about the recoil of a 10 millimeter, probably haven't really shot one, because Um, if you shoot a 10 millimeter and you practice, um, it's very manageable. You know what? 40 caliber, Denzel, 40 caliber ammo is not really significantly cheaper than 10 millimeter, not out here anyway. And I reload my own. I just reloaded 5,000 rounds of 10 millimeter. Um, but if I go to my local gun store, there's the price difference is very negligible. And you know what? If you've owned a 40 caliber for a long time, that's fine. I'm just saying that to intentionally now go out and buy a firearm in 40 caliber, it just makes no sense. Matter of fact, all these gun manufacturers now that are jumping on the 10 millimeter bandwagon, they're not making 40 caliber. They're going right to 10. And yes, Man of the Woods, yes, I did reload 5,000 rounds of 10 millimeter. Oh, nice, Donovan. That's a nice build. But yeah, I reload a lot of ammo. That's why when I got my lever action rifle, I went with 357 because I don't know, I probably got 50,000 rounds of 357 sitting on my workbench. Um, so it makes sense to get it in 357. Um, I reload 10 millimeter, 45, and 357 Magnum. Um, and that's great for you, TF2. If it works for you, fine. I'm just saying that to go out now and intentionally buy a 40 caliber, I think that's silly. Man of the Woods. No, to answer your question, and believe it or not, it's a lot of damn work because I got a single stage RCBS rock chucker. Um, so it takes a long time. I mean, I don't know, I may spend 2 or 3 weekends just knocking out primers and, you know, 5,000 rounds probably took me a month, but it only cost my time. Um, you don't build the ark after it starts raining. I have a boatload of primers from day one. You know what, Liz? Unfortunately, um, I would never recommend the Glock anymore, being that they sold out. I'm sorry. I used to be a Glock fanboy. I would never tell anybody to get a Glock. And again, welcome to all the new people on this live stream. I see a lot of people here that uh, I've never seen on here before. And I guess that's a good thing because that means YouTube is pushing us out to more and more people. So great for that. I appreciate it if you'd subscribe to the channel. It helps us generate revenue so that we can purchase more firearms and accessories for you guys. And TF2, thank you, brother. I appreciate that. Also, we do this live stream every Wednesday evening at 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern. And we do this every Saturday at 12 noon Eastern. And I'll tell you exactly why there, Mark 521, because Glock sold out. When California banned all the Glock Gen 3s or through Gen 5s, what Glock did was they discontinued every one of their Glocks except the 43, 43X, and the 48X. And then they came out with the V series. Now, you're going to take your flagship gun like the Glock 17 and 19 and discontinue it and come out with a V series. You don't discontinue a gun in November and then in December come out with a V series. This was in the works for years. And now Glock is already working on the Gen 6s. And I think what's really going to hurt them is that everybody is making their guns modular, meaning that the fire control group is removable and the serial number is on the fire control group so that you can buy grip modules, slides, barrels, etc. without going to an FFL. And the Glock Gen 6 is still not modular. My Ruger RXM, a year late, but Magpul finally released the full-size grip module, which I just installed a week or so ago. And for the money, I still think that the Ruger RXM for under $400 is as good as the Glock. I put that up to my Glock 19 any day. And, unfortunately, since Gaston Glock died and his wife Catherine took over, it's just not the same Glock anymore. I don't like that they sold out. Look at Ruger. In Connecticut, the Attorney General threatened Ruger and said, if you don't discontinue the RXM, we're going to sue you. And Ruger shot back and said, we manufacture firearms for responsible gun owners. We're not doing it. Now, another reason I don't like what Glock did is that the Glock 17 and Glock 19 have been out for 30 years. And now you're going to switch them over to a V series that has no data. You're going to supply law enforcement with a gun that's been out for a month. It's the principle that they sold out. And, Glock set the bar and the gold standard on the polymer frame striker fire pistols. But I got to tell you, there's a lot of other guns out there now that are just as good, if not better, than the Glock. Glock is not the only gun anymore that's reliable. And there are a lot of guns out there that are as good and cost less. So, Donovan, I just don't like the direction they're going. Gopher guy, yes, absolutely. I'm a fan of Canik. They make awesome guns. I have the Canik TP9 SC. Canik is a great quality firearm, and if you put a Canik side by side with a Walther, they look almost identical. I agree with you, TF2. Those are all good choices. But I guess what my point is that, don't get me wrong, I love the Glocks that I own, and I will never part with them. However, when people used to say to me, well, what is a good gun for a new gun owner? I used to always say, go get a Glock 19. I will not do that anymore. Now, I'll tell them to get a Ruger RXM. I mean, that's a gun for under $400 that is optic ready, has a phenomenal grip built by Magpul, tritium front night sight. Uh, you know what? I don't know whether some of you guys bait me every now and then. So I'm going to let it go for a while. I have great moderators. If it starts getting stupid, they'll delete you. Um, you know, it is almost 12:30. So I have found from doing this live stream on a regular basis that the liberals that live in their parents' basements, being they don't have jobs or anything, they tend to wake up around this time. Weigel's, baby. Weigel's the best. You know, the ironic thing was that Glock claimed it was because of the Glock switch. And the V series wasn't even out a week. And they have a Glock switch available also. And love you too, Liz. Thanks for stopping by. Hope to catch you again. That's a great question, the Caves 123. I would probably recommend a 9mm to new gun owners for the simple reason ammo is going to be cheaper, so they'll be able to train more. The recoil is less, so they'll be better at follow-up shots. And you can always upgrade to a 45. If you start off with a 45 and you have trouble and you don't shoot it well, now you're going backwards to a 9mm, or you may just not like guns anymore. I mean, hence Pro Gun 45. But I would never tell anybody to go out and buy a 45 or a 10mm for their first gun. Liz, we will be on until 1 o'clock. But we do this every week, and you know that. So, and again, people that are new to this stream, if you haven't done so, please subscribe to the channel. And this must be AI, because this is the second time that this liberal posted this dumbass question. That's a good price, Liz. Yeah, you could say anything you want, but then Cap Show, you got liberal written all over you. I'm sorry. And I don't see what common sense you're using. But Notzler is good ammo. And I'm sorry, Donovan, I don't understand your question. So I thought at least one of you guys would have had a Ruger LC carbine. It's still very high on my list. Now, those gun haters, I just find it hard to believe that these liberals that live in their parents' basement decide, let me join a live stream with a bunch of gun owners. And it's just retarded. This is like it's the Second Amendment is our right. It's not the liberals' right to take away. And if you don't like guns, that's fine. Um, but just shut up. And hello, Kevin from upstate New York. Yeah, you know what, Ted? I, I wanted the 45 because it would be cool, but I'm on the fence about the 5.7 because I already own the Ruger 5.7. All right, great question there, J-Rad. I think the 5.7 out of all the guns I bought was probably a mistake. The ammo's expensive. The gun is very large. Um, I wouldn't buy a 5.7 for home defense. There's a lot of other calibers that are just as good. I bought it because it was a caliber I didn't have. Yeah, I'll give the 5.7. The benefit of the 5.7, however, though, is that it's got zero recoil, and it's like shooting a 22, and it does pierce soft body armor, and it's a flat trajectory. It doesn't drop off. I find the 5.7 to just be um, very bulky. I wouldn't carry it. The thing is like got almost a 6-inch barrel on it. There's a lot of other guns to carry. I agree, Mike. You are responsible for defending yourself. I know where we live out here. Um, if I had to call the sheriff's department, it's going to take an hour for them to get here. Um, Tennessee is a long, long state. They can't possibly patrol it all. Um, and out in the rural areas, it could take an hour for a cop to come. Net spend 420. I love the 5.56. Um, I don't see why people would buy a 223 only as opposed to buying a 5.56 that you can also shoot 223 out of. But 5.56 is a great cartridge. Um, I built a lot of AR rifles and AR pistols, and I like them a lot. Not a huge rifle guy, but I'm getting there. Yeah, I reload my own as well. The only thing I don't reload is 9mm. Um, you know what, Ralph? I have a 1911 Colt government competition, and I carry that a lot. And I disagree. It's not too heavy to carry. If you have the right gun belt and the right holster, um, you can carry anything. I use a outside the waistband loop holster. Um, Trust me, 1911 is actually one of the most comfortable guns to carry because the grip is very thin. Um, people say you can't conceal it. My full size 1911 conceals better than my Glock 19X. So I don't know why you would wear gloves when you shoot, but whatever works for you. The round count could be better. Well, you know what? Carry an extra mag. I laugh my ass off when I go onto these gun forums and I see people with these 25 round magazines. I mean, where are these people going? Afghanistan? I mean, if 7 rounds isn't enough for you, carry an extra mag. That's what I do. And 1911s are really not overrated. In my opinion, 1911 has got the best trigger in the world out of the box. And there's a reason after all of this time, people still have them. And even a cheap 1911 has got a better trigger than a good striker fired gun. I'll give you that, Donovan. However, when people start complaining about their 1911s jamming, it's usually the magazines. Now, on my 1911s, I only carry Wilson Combat mags. And no, Jody, I am not allowed to show, handle, or display firearms on a YouTube live stream. They will cut me off for that. And I disagree with you, Tyler. My Rock Island, my Springfield Emissary, my Springfield Ronin, my TSAS, every one of those 1911 triggers are better triggers than any of my striker fired guns. But anyway, so getting back to you there, Donovan. So, yeah, I find that most of the 1911 failures are the magazines. So I only use Wilson Combat or Chip McCormick magazines. And Wilson Combat now bought Chip McCormick. So, and then we got another liberal that just woke up out of their mommy's basement. So you're going away. Great question, Jody. I use the Wilson Combat 7 rounds, and there's a good reason for that. The reason I use the Wilson Combat 7 rounds is I find them to be more reliable. When you get the 8-round 1911 magazines and they're jamming one more cartridge into the same mag, not a fan. And besides, 7 rounds versus 8 rounds, if 7 or 8 rounds isn't enough, just carry a spare mag. I use my Pitbull Tactical Mag Carrier, and when I carry a 1911, I carry a spare mag. So I'm not really worried whether it's 7 or 8 rounds, but I do find that the 7-round mags are more reliable. And JL, yeah, I mean, I've never had failures with any of the Chip McCormicks or Wilson Combat. I just personally, I like the flush fitting magazines that are 7 rounds. Yes, Jody, 7-round is gold. I also like that the 7-round magazine fits flush. when you start getting the extended magazines, now you're going to start printing more. Because contrary to popular belief, you you print because of the grip, not because of the barrel length. So now you're extending the grip length by having that larger magazine in there. Um, and again, I like the flush mount. That magazine that sticks out a quarter of an inch, it just annoys the crap out of me. And hello, Dylan. Glad to have more Second Amendment people here. And again, I see more and more new people on the stream, which is a good thing. It means that we're getting out and people are finding us. And we do this stream every Wednesday evening at 8 o'clock Eastern and every Saturday at 12 noon Eastern. If you haven't done so, please subscribe, share our channel with your friends, like our videos, comment on our videos. That's how we generate revenue, is by how many videos are watched. And we're a small channel, so we rely on our revenue to purchase firearms and accessories to review for you guys. So I want to thank everyone that has subscribed, because it's because of you guys that we're able to keep doing this. I've been around firearms for over 40 years. I just really enjoy it and I love it. And I like sharing information with you guys. So all right, Jody. Well, glad you could join us. And you know what our schedule is now. So hope to catch you again. And thanks for that there, Jody. Appreciate that. I don't know why somebody would post a stupid comment like, "Why do we care about gun rights?" That's just stupid. You know, I try not to get political. However, sometimes there are topics related to the Second Amendment where you have no choice but to get political. Henry, where in the United States can't you travel freely? Any state that's not a gun friendly state. We used to live in the communist state of New Jersey. They took all our gun rights away. There are a lot of liberal states that you do not want to be going through carrying a firearm. So you're damn right we care about our Second Amendment rights. And I see we got a couple more liberals that just woke up out of their parents' basement. But I have a lot of friends that live in New Jersey, and the gun laws get worse and worse, but yet the majority of the people vote for another liberal governor. Now, if you're a gun owner and you're a liberal, that's kind of like stupid, because you're voting for people to take your gun rights away. I'm not so sure Florida is the best state. Um, I'd put Tennessee right up there. Matter of fact, Florida just had some uh, Second Amendment wins that they should have had a long time ago. Yet the basement dwellers have waken up, Mike. It's almost 1:45, and they don't have jobs, so they probably stay up playing Xbox, eating Cheetos in their tidy whities all night long, and they sleep late, and then they get up and decide to join our live stream. Um, and Carmine, Happy New Year to you too. The time check, it is 12:43. Um, we will be ending at 1 o'clock. Yeah, well, that's the problem there, JL. Um, you know, we live in the great state of Tennessee, but I don't I don't take my gun rights for granted because um, we're only one mass shooting or election away. Um, and this is why we need to fight every day for our Second Amendment rights because um, one election could change everything. John, if they made a bigger coffee cup at Weigel's, I would definitely have one. I mean, look at New Jersey, right? Um, New Jersey now allows people to carry, but yet they've gone backwards as far as gun rights go. They're not allowed to have hollow points. Um, they have magazine restrictions. They now have an assault weapon ban. Um, there's a lot of places they can and can't carry. Um, Nobody said that the Glock V series was bad. The point is that it's a new platform that has not been tested. Why would you take a Glock 17 and Glock 19 that were battle proven for 30 years and replace them with a brand new series that has no data? The reason law enforcement has been using Glocks is because they've been around forever. Now you're going to be giving law enforcement a gun that's been out for a month. Um, I don't like that they caved in. I don't like the direction they're going. Um, I love my Glocks and I'll never part with them, but I'd never buy another one. I don't have any shield mags. I'm not a fan of Smith and Wesson semi-automatics. Yeah, exactly there. Not only that, so now they're coming out with the Glock Gen 6 that's supposed to be shipping this month. And you would think at this point they would have made it modular with a replaceable fire control group like Ruger, SIG, Springfield, and a lot of other places are doing. And they haven't done that. Yep, and that is a good point there, James. Glock submitted the 19X and they lost to the SIG Sauer P320. They didn't lose because the SIG P320 is better. They lost because it came in cheaper. Just a time check. We got 10 minutes left. I agree, JL. You know, they've been using the Beretta 92 forever, right? And then they decide to go with the SIG. Glock didn't lose because the SIG was better. However, I do love the Glock 19X, and that's why it's available for the civilians now, because it lost to Sig Sauer. But the Glock 19X, in my opinion, is probably the best Glock that was ever manufactured. It gives you the best of both worlds. You get the full-size Glock 17 frame with the Glock 19 grip module, Glock 19 slide. I just think it's great. And Donovan, thank you for the New Year's Eve sticker. Appreciate that. MVP, hello, welcome. Again, a lot of you guys that are joining late, if you're new to this, we do the live stream every Wednesday evening at 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern and every Saturday at 12 noon Eastern. So we will be ending this at 1 o'clock. And hello to Jackson from Michigan. We do have some giveaways from time to time. And on Wednesday's stream, we did give away 2 Pierce grip extensions for the Glock 29 and 30. And Knowledge is Power. Welcome. Good to have you from India. That's a good one, JL. How long have I been at what? And thank you there, Elvis. I appreciate that. And welcome to you in Virginia. And glad you love our show. I appreciate that. Streaming, fairly new. I've probably been doing it for a few months now. What do I think of the Shield Plus? Again, this is just my opinion. I just really do not like Smith & Wesson semi-automatics. I love their revolvers. I just find their semi-automatics, I find the triggers very gritty. I just don't like them. Now, I love my Smith & Wesson 686 Deluxe Plus 357. That is a great gun. But I personally, I would never buy a Smith & Wesson semi-automatic pistol. I do have the Smith & Wesson folding carbine in 9mm, and I like that. And yes, Jason, I love Rugers. Matter of fact, like I said earlier, when people ask me what is a good gun for a new gun owner, I used to always recommend the Glock 19. And now I go right to the Ruger RXM. The Ruger RXM, for the money, and believe me, I own a lot of guns. I've reviewed a lot of guns. I don't think there's anything for that price out there. And I would put the RXM up against my Glock 19 any day. I agree, Donovan. RXM is going to kill Glock for being modular. And, you know, unfortunately, it took a freaking year, but Magpul did just finally release the full size grip module. And I just purchased that a week ago for $39. And uh, I replaced that on my RXM, and it's awesome. And I just think for under $400, there's nothing out there in that price range that'll beat the Ruger RXM. And that grip module, Magpul knocked it out of the park. It is extremely comfortable. That's what I'm talking about, Carmine. I just bought the Ruger GP100 a couple of weeks ago. I have the Smith & Wesson 686 Deluxe Plus. I have the Colt Python. I always wanted the Ruger, and I'm glad I got it. And thank you for that there, Jason. Happy New Year's to you. And welcome, John and Moby Dick. Glock is really just not going, and we're open carry here in Tennessee as well. Glock is just not really going where they should be going. Unfortunately, when he died and his wife Catherine took over, she's going to just manage Glock into the ground. JL, I am jealous, brother. 2 weeks ago, Crossroads Firearms had a staccato day. And staccato came and they brought every one of their staccato pistols and they supplied the ammo. And I got to shoot every one and it was free. And man, they are sweet. I would love to have one. I really wish they'd make them in 45 ACP, but I'd really love a staccato, but I can't. You know, I'm a very small channel. $2,000 is just it's a lot for me to deal with. Maybe one day when we get bigger and I have income. Wow, she's a keeper. And the Kimber as well, huh? That is an honest question, Moby Dick. Now, for me, I prefer my Glock 29 SF 10 millimeter. That'll stop anything on 2 legs or 4. It's a subcompact. However, I own a lot of guns and I rotate mine all the time. So, the best everyday carry, the more guns you wind up owning, the harder it is to come up with a best everyday carry. However, we're not far from the Great Smoky Mountains. And, even in the woods across the street from me, we got bear, coyotes, bobcat, mountain lions. But to me, I just love the 10 millimeter. I love 45 as well, hence Pro Gun 45. But the 10 millimeter has really grown on me. Yes, Carmine, 45 too as well. I also carry a Glock 30 45 ACP. It's identical in size to the Glock 29 10 millimeter. But depending on what I'm doing and where I am, will determine what gun I carry. Like I said, I'm not a huge fan of 9 millimeter, even though I have a lot of them. But at work, I carry the Savage Stance 9 millimeter or the Hellcat Pro. I mean, they basically disappear. Nobody has any idea you're carrying them. I agree, Donovan. 10 millimeter or 45, pretty much, you got everything covered. All right, guys, we got 1 minute left. I'm very pleased that we have a lot of new people on this stream today that I haven't seen before. I'd be very grateful if you would subscribe to our channels. That'll help us grow and generate more revenue so we can purchase more firearms and accessories. Some of you guys have purchased memberships and super stickers and things like that to help us, and we appreciate that as well. We wouldn't be here if it weren't for you guys, so I love and appreciate all of you. We do this every Wednesday evening at 8 o'clock Eastern and every Saturday at 12 noon Eastern. If you haven't done so, please subscribe. And I'm sorry for you people who joined late, but it is 1 o'clock and we will be ending this stream now. Thank you all for joining, and we'll be back Wednesday evening. Hope you have a safe weekend. Thank you.